You're a wonder in the making, you're growing very fast. You're gonna give us all a lot of pride. Good on you, darling. I know you're gonna be for moving us on monorail for everyone to see. You're helping Sydney grow a place for me. Good on you, darling. Darling Harbour, a great place for me.
Darling Harbour in the 90s was a mecca for kids, families, entertainment, and a big reason to journey to the city. Darling Harbour was officially stamped for redevelopment by the Wran government in 1985 after its previous usage as a rail yard terminated a year prior. Slated to be operational in time for the bicentennial celebration of 200 years of Australia in 1988, many iconic buildings were constructed. Opening in 1988 were the Monorail, Aquarium, Exhibition Centre, Chinese Garden, Powerhouse Museum, Tumbalong Park, Harborside Festival Marketplace, the Paddle Pop Children's Playground, Outdoor Performance Area and Waterfront Promenade. Darling Harbour was officially opened by Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II on the 4th of May 1988. Shortly prior to construction, the area was home to the Darling Harbour Goods Yard and part of the Rozelle-Darling Harbour Goods Line. These had gradually fallen into disuse and were all but closed in 1981. They were demolished in stages between 1984 and 1988. Darling Harbour was named after the former New South Wales Governor Lieutenant General Ralph Darling. The monorail opened in July 1988 and closed in June 2013. There were 8 stations on the 3.6 kilometre loop, with up to 6 monorails operating simultaneously. As part of the redevelopment of Darling Harbour, it was proposed to build a transport link to the central business district. Sydney City Council preferred a light rail line. However, in November 1985, the Transport Minister announced a monorail would be built. The original operation hours were to be 6 a.m. till midnight, but after 2 years of operation, patronage counts were half those expected. The Government of New South Wales bought both the monorail and the light rail service from Metro Transport Sydney on the 23rd of March 2012 to enable it to extend the light rail system without having to negotiate with the private owners, and to remove the monorail from the area near Haymarket required for the expanded Sydney Convention and Exhibition Centre. Darling Park, Harborside, Convention and Exhibition were stations serving Darling Harbour. Tumbalong Park also opened in 1988 and was the largest area of new parkland created in the inner city for more than a century. The park was designed using native Australian foliage, decorated with fountains as an urban stream. The name Tumbalong is from the Darug as spoken by the Eora people and means place where seafood is found. Tumbalong Park spans 5 hectares. The Chinese Garden of Friendship, also constructed for 1988, is a heritage-listed Chinese garden. The Chinese Garden of Friendship was designed by Sydney's Chinese sister city, Guangzhou. Its proximity to Sydney's Chinatown complements the area's already rich Chinese heritage and culture. The garden was officially opened on the 17th of January 1988 as part of Sydney's bicentennial celebrations and named the Sydney Chinese Garden of Friendship, symbolising the bond established between China and Australia. Another feature of the area were the many beautiful water features around Darling Harbour, the best of all being Robert Woodward's magnificent tidal cascades, commonly referred to simply as the spiral water feature. Harborside Festival Marketplace was decorated with the distinctly Australian artworks of more than 30 of Australia's top artists, muralists, designers and craftspeople. Shops over the years included Time Zone, Gem Pit, Australian Geographic, a fudge shop, Shark Attack with the iconic Jaws entry, and Pancakes on the Rock, and a bakery selling potato bread. Another notable shop further down in the park was the Arnott's Mini Factory shop with the fresh Tiny Teddy machine. Another icon regularly seen going from Harborside to the park end was a miniature train. In 1996, the award-winning IMAX opened as Sydney's IMAX Theatre. Boasting the world's largest screen, the current building opened 1997 and was sold in 2005. It is currently being demolished and rebuilt. The Sydney Convention and Exhibition Centre opened in 1988, with a new section added for the Sydney 2000 Olympics. An Olympic sculpture was erected in 1996 in the forecourt for the 2000 Olympics and features the Millennium Athlete logo used throughout the Games. The first exhibition was the First State 88, the bicentennial super show exhibit of 200 years of New South Wales's colonial history held in the two halls of the newly built Sydney Exhibition Centre. Sydney Convention Centre opened with a plenary hall that seats 3,500 people. In the same year, the Sydney Exhibition Centre won the Sulman Award for Architecture for the 2000 Olympics. 6 Olympic sports are staged at Darling Harbour with 2,500 competitors. The centre hosts weightlifting, boxing, judo, wrestling and fencing, and the Sydney Entertainment Centre hosts volleyball. The Sydney Olympic Games mascots appeared at Darling Harbour: Sid the Platypus, Millie the Echidna, and Ollie the Kookaburra. Sega World Sydney was an indoor high-tech amusement park that operated for almost 4 years in Sydney. Sega World opened on the 6th of March 1997 and closed on the 12th of November 2000. The building was demolished in 2008. Sega World Sydney was not actually a Sega initiative, but rather the brainchild of Kevin Burmeister, who ran Sega Aussiesoft, the Australian distributor for Sega products. Amusements and rides included Ghost Hunter, a sort of ghost house cum roller coaster, during which the ride you would have to blast ghosts with a laser cannon affixed to your car. Aquanova was a 3D motion ride set inside a submarine. AS1, a motion simulation ride in which visitors partook in a futuristic police chase, the captain of which was none other than Michael Jackson. Mad Bazooka was a Dodgem car ride in which the Dodgems were fitted with ball cannons, and many, many more. 1988 also saw the opening of Sydney Aquarium. The aquarium was designed to provide a single reference point for the nation's entire marine ecology. Sydney Aquarium is a public aquarium that features a large variety of Australian aquatic life, displaying more than 700 species, comprising more than 13,000 individual fish and other sea and water creatures from most of Australia's water habitats. Annual visitors exceed 1 million people. The aquarium features 14 themed zones, including Jurassic Seas, Discovery Rockpool, Shark Walk, and the world's largest Great Barrier Reef display. The Australian National Maritime Museum opened in 1991. The museum was designed to complement Darling Harbour in both an aesthetic and practical way. You might remember the ship and submarine docked in the harbour to go aboard and view inside, or the MV Crate, most famous for its use during World War II by Australia's Z-Force during the raid against Japanese ships anchored in Singapore Harbour. Another maritime feature was the replica ship of the HMB Endeavour, commanded by Lieutenant James Cook on his first voyage of discovery to Australia and New Zealand from 1769 to 1771. This replica was built and launched in Fremantle, Western Australia on the 9th of December 1993. In 1998, Cockle Bay Wharf opened as a new restaurant and entertainment complex. Cockle Bay is named for the numerous shells discarded here over thousands of years by the Aurora people. Another boat, this one the SS South Stein, the world's largest operational steam ferry, docked permanently in Darling Harbour following 36 years of service as the Manly Ferry. Restored in the 1980s, she served as a restaurant ship in Newcastle in the 1990s, and in 2000 was moved back to Sydney and opened to the public at Darling Harbour. She was added to the New South Wales State Heritage Register on the 2nd of April 1999. MDC Mosaics created the New South Wales coat of arms in mosaic tiles in front of the former Sydney Convention and Exhibition Centre. It was created by MDC Mosaics in 1991. In 1996, Princess Diana visited Darling Harbour less than a year prior to her tragic death. Other notable attractions were the Ferris wheel, merry-go-round carousel under the bridge, now heritage listed, the stepping stones on the water, Darling Harbour Fun Park, outdoor music events and night raves, Crush at Sega World, the paddle boats and water shooters, and Zert's restaurant, a sort of Pizza Planet replica on the King Street Wharf precinct. I hope this ignited many great memories of when Darling Harbour was, as Neville Ram put it, for the people. I hope you enjoyed this presentation.